Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and who rule well. And a sincere salutations to the Tabernacle of David, you Aki, and pushing this truth to the four corners of the earth in all truth and all faith and all sincereness. And a healthy shalom to the Aqua who are listening and learning. Lord's willing, this be edifying. So I'm going to touch on a few articles and current events, and we're going to just discuss World War III and how all the actions being taken by these world leaders um, are playing in the prophecy and leading straight to it. So the first thing we're going to do is bring out a couple precepts. All right. This is Revelation chapter 9 and verse 12, and it reads, "One woe is past." Woe meaning destruction. "One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter." All right, and this is referring to world wars. Okay, World War One has passed, and behold, there come World War Two and World War Three. All right, that's what this precept is referring to. And just to back that up, all right, we're gonna go to Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14. "The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly." Right. The second world war is past, and behold, the third world war cometh quickly. Okay? And everything that you're seeing uh, happening with Ukraine, Russia, NATO, all this is culminating to uh, the event of World War III. Okay? So, let's get this article. This is from RT, and it reads, "Biden appears to suggest U.S. troops will be sent to Ukraine." All right, because we know that the narrative that Biden has been taking is that the U.S. will not um, invade Ukraine to give assistance to the Ukrainians against Russia. All right, that's been his whole stance on the matter. All right, so it says, "Biden appears to suggest U.S. troops will be sent to Ukraine." So it says, U.S. President Joe Biden told American soldiers on Friday that you're going to see Ukrainian civilians fighting Russian soldiers when you're there. Despite despite signaling a potential U.S. deployment of Ukraine to Ukraine, the White House says there's been no change to Biden's position of not sending troops into the country. Here's Biden's quote, his exact quote: "You're going to see when you're there, some of you have been there, you're going to see women, young people standing in the middle, in front of a damn tank saying, 'I'm not leaving, I'm holding my ground,'" Biden told members of the U.S. Army's 82nd Airborne Division stationed in Poland. Okay, and here's a clip.
And you're going to see when you're there, some of you have been there, you're going to see women, young people standing in the middle in front of a damn tank, just saying, "I'm not leaving, I'm holding my ground." They're incredible.
All right. Was old Joe Smo supposed to say that out loud? I don't know. Okay. And the tensions between America, China, and Russia are going to continue to intensify and to escalate. Okay, because ultimately this is what America, Babylon the Great wants. Okay. They're using their propaganda to demonize the Russian President Putin, and there's even talks, beginning talks of regime change in Russia. All right, and this is what America does, man. All right. Matter of fact, let's get this next article. It reads: Putin cannot remain in power. U.S. President demands regime change for Russia. U.S. President Joe Biden has called for Russian President Vladimir to be uh, deposed. He made a direct appeal to the Russian people during a speech in Warsaw, where he had met for talks with high-ranking Ukrainian officials. All right, so let's see what he had to say in his speech.
For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power. God bless you all, and may God.
All right, so it says, for God's sake, this man cannot remain in power, Biden declared at the end of an emotional, overwrought speech in the Polish capital Royal Castle, while he has previously denounced Putin as a war criminal and a dictator, and lobbed at him all manner of other geopolitical insults. This was the first recorded demand that the president be removed from office. All right, and this is what America Babylon the Great does. Okay, when they want someone out of power. Okay, don't forget Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela. Okay, they demonized this man in the media using their propaganda. Okay, and went into a country uh, illegally, you know, and tried to replace him. Not only replace him, they tried to assassinate him, and they tried regime change in Venezuela. Okay, but it didn't work with the puppet president that they tried to put in there. So this is nothing new from America Babylon the Great. This is what they do. All right. A matter of fact, let's get a precept. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5. And it reads, Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, which is his philosophies and ideologies, okay, which he tries to spread around the world and all these different nations. It says, Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell. Right, he enlarges his desire as hell. He's always in another nation, okay, blowing up whatever they have going on, trying to implement his democracy and implement his way of life. Okay, it's none of his business what's going on in these other nations' lands. Plain and simple. It says, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell. Yeah, because anytime he goes into a country, he puts sanctions on the country, and he says to hurt the president, to persuade the president to step down or whatever. But these sanctions end up hurting the people more. Okay, so his desire is as hell, but he steady says that he's coming in peace and to help. It says, and it is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Right, this is what he does. And he oppresses a man, even his heritage. Okay, Esau Edom is the devil that the Bible speaks of, the deceiver. Devil just meaning deceiver. All right, this is what this man does and who he is. Okay, so let's get a little bit more of this article. It says, Biden also spoke directly to the Russian people, insisting that despite weeks of punishing sanctions, okay, and I just said the sanctions hurt the people more than the actual president, okay, because the president has all the money and all the power. These sanctions don't affect him whatsoever. So it says, Biden also spoke directly to the Russian people, insisting that despite weeks of punishing sanctions and forcing hundreds of Americans and European-based companies to be pulled out the country, You, the Russian people, are not our enemy. Actions speak louder than words. Okay, and you have these Russian, people, uh, you know, accounts frozen and they can't get money out the bank and just making life difficult to them. Actions speak louder than words. All right, but like I said, this is nothing new. Okay, this is nothing new. This is why the scripture says this, man. Never trust thine enemy. All right, because all these countries are in confederate with Esau Edom. Okay, they're in confederate with America Babylon the Great. And you, what they say, you lay down in a bed with a dog, you're gonna wake up with fleas. So anyway, it says Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 12, verse 10, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. Right. Because at the end of the day, man, iron is going to rust no matter how much you polish it, no matter how much you try to keep it from rusting. Eventually, iron rusts. It's just what it does. Okay? And the wicked will do wickedly. Esau, Edom, the wicked, the so called white man is going to do wickedly. It's just in his nature. All right? So it says, 12, Ecclesiasticus 12 and 12, set him not by thee, least when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. And that's what America Babylon the Great is looking to do, to overthrow the Russian regime, put in a puppet government, Salakia, and have complete control over these nations, man. Slowly take over the world. If they're gonna try to do this to a Russian president, who's next? China's president? Who's next? Okay, and the other nations are looking at this. They're looking at the way America Babylon the Great is handling this situation with a microscope. So it says, set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words and be pricked with them. All right. So like I said, man, it is what it is. All right. So from here, we're going to go to, we're done with this article. All right, another article, because we're not even going to stay in this one long. This is just making a quick point. All right, because remember, if they really wanted to avoid it, to avoid the war, if they wanted to avoid, Salakia, if they really wanted to avoid the war in Ukraine, they should have just signed and agreed to the treaty that Putin had presented them. All right, so it says, because you can't forget, man, you got to remember the things that are going on. It says Biden didn't accept Putin's red line on Ukraine. Here's what that means. All right, so I'm just going to get to the point. It says President Joe Biden didn't accept Russian leaders Vladimir Putin's red line on Ukraine during their high-stakes video call Tuesday that came as Russia's military builds its presence on the Ukrainian border. All right, so this is before Russia invaded. It says, namely, that means the U.S. isn't accepting Putin's demand that Ukraine be denied entrance into NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is the world's most powerful military alliance. An attack on one NATO country is considered an attack on all of them. All right, so Putin just wanted a promise that NATO wouldn't allow Ukraine into it. Okay, and if you really wanted to not go to war, or do what's best for the people, they would have just signed the treaty and said, okay, we and agreed the terms and say, okay, we will not allow Ukraine to join NATO. All right, and everything that's happening over there in Ukraine would not be happening. And then, and even if Putin signed that, even if America and NATO agreed to the treaty and then Putin broke it, then they would have a reason to go to war and try to take them out. All right. So this is not about peace. This is not about the people. Okay. This is ultimately a power grab, and ultimately they're going to use this war to uh, break down this current global and economic system to bring in their great reset. All right. Because this is, this war is going to lead to a lot of things: famine, okay, pestilence, um, and great sorrows. All right, and they're going to use this war as an excuse for all these things that are about to, befall the earth. All right, so I just wanted to make that quick point, and so we can get rid of this. And Putin, you know, Salakia, and Biden talking about uh, regime change. This is just an article, and this was from the Washington Post 5 years ago, and it talks about the U.S. tried to change other countries' government 72 times during the Cold War. All right, and I just wanted to show you that this is nothing new, man. This is nothing new. It says between 1947 and 1989, the United States tried to change other nations' government 72 times. Okay, 72 times, and that's just in that that short of a span. Okay, and let's get this. It says convert United States foreign regime change actions. The United States has been involved in an assisted and Salakia. It says the United States has been involved in and assisted in the overthrow of foreign governments, more recently termed regime change. Without the overt U.S. military force, often such operations are tasked to the Central Intelligence Agency. Salakia. Regime change has been attempted through direct involvement of U.S. operations, the funding and training of insurgency groups within these countries, anti-regime propaganda campaigns, coups d'etat, and other activities usually conducted as operations by CIA. The U.S. has also accomplished regime change by direct military actions, such as following the U.S. invasion of Panama in 1989 and the U.S. led military invasion of Iraq in 2003. Some argue that transparent United States government agencies working in secret sometimes mislead or do not fully implement decisions of elected civilian leaders. All right. So anyway, I'm not really getting into that, but I'm just showing you how, you know, there's nothing new under the sun, man. There's nothing new. This is just part of the part of the show. All right. The whole world is a stage. All right, and this is just part of the show that they're putting on. All right, but World War III is going to happen, man. And America, Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed in 1 hour, okay, by ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Thus saith the Lord. Okay, so you best believe this thing is not going away. All right, so let's get these last couple precepts and call it quits. This is Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 2. It says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. And all these nations are looking upon the actions taken by America, Babylon the Great, their NATO allies, and China and all the world's powers, man. And they're greatly despising, okay, the actions, okay, and they're realizing that they've been fooled okay, by America's Babylon the Great and their democracy. Okay, everywhere that America has spread their democracy uh, in these other countries has failed them, man. Okay, pushing this, that their LG alphabet community lifestyle and their feminism and all the things that America breeds, man. These other countries are like, yeah, this is not where it's at. Okay, and they're starting to despise this whore, so to speak. It says, "The pride of thine heart have deceived thee." Yeah, the pride of thy heart has deceived thee. All right. In this age of information, you think you can do the same tricks over and over and over, a one-trick pony, and these other nations wouldn't recognize it? They have the blueprint. They know how you overthrow regimes. They know how you set up puppet governments using the CIA or just assassinate them. Okay, look at what happened in Haiti with their president. It says, "The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rock." All right, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, "Who shall bring me down to the ground?" And ultimately, it's going to be Yahushua, who people ignorantly call Jesus, who was a so-called black man from the tribe of Judah, who's going to bring him down. Okay? But the Lord also was going to use the other nations to bring judgment upon America, Babylon the Great, by raining ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, down on America, Babylon the Great. Okay? By having its allies betray him. All right? So we're going to end it with this. This is staying in Obadiah. This is Obadiah 1 and 7. "All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him." Right? So all these other nations, even the NATO members and allies, are all going to turn on America, Babylon the Great, and join in with Russia and China, okay, and Iran and all these other nations that have nukes, and fire them upon America, Babylon the Great, because they're sick and tired of the big bad bully going around trying to force unrighteous decrees on different countries and just doing whatever it pleases and not holding itself uh, accountable and not following the same laws and decrees that it uh, swears to abide by. So they're going to be fed up, all right, and we all know what happens at the end of the movie to the bully, all right, that goes around picking on all the little kids. Okay, that's why the scripture says, how has the hammer of the earth fallen? All right, this big bully is going to fall. All right, so anyway, Lord's willing, this was edifying. Shalom, Israel.